So here is the Google Admin Console. Basically, this is from this page that an administrator will manage the MM part of the solution. You have the main way of navigation with all icons that you can see here, but a little tips. There is another menu on the left corner with all other possibilities in terms of navigation. One first thing to show you is about company profile. Some possibilities in terms of personalization for your company. For instance, you can change the secondary email contact if needed, maybe change the language of the console or time zone and so on. Also, you can manage how to release new user features to your company. You can schedule them rapidly to have automatically new features as Google releases them, or change to have more control, for instance. It's the same for new product release. Just after, you have all communication preference, features, announcements, and so on. And if needed, you can personalize the logo of the company, for instance. So let's move to the user section of the console. Well, one of the main part is about users. Here you have the user list, and we can see on the left that we have who organizational in its hierarchy. So be sure to select the one that you want to modify before. For instance, here is the way how to move a user to another OU. So I take this one, I click on More, change organizational unit, I select a different one, and I click on Continue. Some other possibilities in terms of administration task with users. You can reset the password, you can rename the account. If I click on more possibilities, suspend the user, delete the user directly. You can add a new user individually or use the bulk upload with a CSV file. So just download the template before here and add all users' information, then upload the file. So let's go to move to another menu. We are going to talk about admin role. Here is the list of all admin roles that you can use in the organization. This is the default list, but you can create a new custom role and assign this one. For instance, you may wish to grant some staff members the ability to change an employee's password if they are forgotten. So create the profile, enter a name, click on continue, and select the right permission on the list. Click on continue, and so on. Now, let's talk about security. So, because this is a huge part of the console, we will focus on the most important part. From here, you can, for instance, control user password, set up single sign-on, and many more features. About password management. Basically, on this page, you can do manage password by changing how strong you think they should be. For instance, the length of the password by setting the minimum and the maximum amount of character needed. Be sure to select the OU that you have on target. Select the correct population, for instance, and change all parameters. If I come back on security, now about password monitoring. Here. So a really cool feature, you can have a look at the strengths of all individuals' user password by user. Really interesting if you want to have an overview of password security on your company from a single place. Then, still from security, you can find all single sign-on settings. This is from here that you can configure the SSO with a third-party identity provider, for instance. You need to add all mandatory URLs and upload your certificate. An important information, you can select an OU for this setting. If you apply the single sign-on, you will apply globally the setting to your domain, so be careful. Let's move to the user and browser setting part. So, from this page, you have a lot of possibilities in terms of user experience customization. On the general section, you have some basic settings regarding avatars, wallpapers, and so on. The next is sign-in settings. You have the possibility to restrict and determine which Google account can be set as browser primary account on Chrome. For example, if I had my domain name, the value will restrict sign-in to accounts in this domain. Could be a security point for a cloud worker population, for instance. The next one is the enrollment control category. This is an important part of the user setting. You can manage the enrollment permission, allow users in the OU selected to enroll existing devices or not. You can keep devices item in the current OU selected after enrollment or not. Choose to provide an ID and location during the enrollment or not, and so on. We will see some others enrollment permission on the device tab just after. About apps and extension. So from here, basically you have two different submenus. The first is apps and extension page. So if I take my example, you can add application and extension with different stores available. The Chrome Web Store, Google Play Store, Chrome Apps or extension by ID directly, or add directly an URL. Also, by application, you can choose to force installation of the app and pin this one to the taskbar. On the top, be careful, you can deploy apps for kiosk usage or especially for managed guest session mode. You just need to select the right app. If I come back to the previous page, we can see that we have another menu available about application settings. So I click on this one. More possibilities in terms of apps category management this time. You can allow or not the type of apps and extension directly. For instance, you can block extension by permission. There is a lot of choice. In addition, you can change the default homepage of the Chrome Web Store and allow or not to publish private apps that are restricted to your domain. Now, to continue to the previous page. In terms of security, so here you can enable or not the lock screen, the fingerprint, set an idle timeout and action, or allow or not the incognito mode, for instance. And this is from this place that you will find some other SSO parameters to enable or not this feature for the end user side. We saw the implementation part of the SSO previously. This is to enable this feature from the user side. In addition, you can select the SSO login frequency, for instance. On the network part, here, you can enable or not the proxy mode if you want to use a proxy server or use a pack file, for instance. If I scroll a little bit more because the list is very long about printing. You can see a lot of possibilities. About printing, yes, you have a lot of possibilities of customization. Enable or not the print previews, color or not, page size, print job history retention, or restrict pin printing mode, for instance. A lot of choice. The user experience section gives you customization as bookmarks, download location. For instance, if you want to force Google Drive as location, enable or not the developer tools, and so on. Now I will show you the device setting tab. So from the enrollment and access section, an important feature gives you the possibilities to force the re-enrollment by selecting force devices to re-enroll into this domain after wiping. Again, you can scope this setting for the organizational unit that you have on target. Be sure to select a device OU. You can add a disabled return instruction if the device is lost, for example. About the sign-in setting section, about the guest mode, he allows you to use a Chromebook as a guest without the company user policy in place. This mode is similar to the incognito mode supported by the Chrome browser. Next, two important features. Sign-in restriction allow you to prevent users from signing in using their personal Gmail account, for instance. With autocomplete domain, the other, you can restrict sign-in to only accounts at your domain. So this is a great feature. You can control user data compartment if you need to erase all user sessions data after logout, for instance. You will find others SSO features regarding this time the device and not the user session. Single sign-on ADP redirection allow you to redirect users to your single sign-on login page on managed devices. And single sign-on cookie allow the SAML SSO cookies to be transferred into the user's session, providing seamless sign-on to other web resources which use the same IDP. Just after, we have the device update setting here. You can control from here who OS updates are managed and applied to the device. Allow or not auto update, change the release channel, or enable scheduled update if you want. You have some other interesting possibilities as the kiosk mode. The kiosk mode and the user device reporting are all options regarding the power and shutdown compartment. On the other settings section, just after, this is from here that you can allow the Linux virtual machine usage or not, here, and so on. Well, let's move to the Managed Guest Session setting tab now. Same point as before. Be sure to select the OU that you have on target for this dedicated use case. So from this place, we will manage all settings regarding the guest session. In general, of course, you can enable or not the use of this mode. You have the possibility to change the maximum user session net, add a specific avatar, wallpaper, and so on. You can manage app and extension as seen previously, allow or block a specific apps, force install apps, pin apps to the taskbar. In terms of security, you can change the idle setting compartment or enable or not the incognito mode, allow or not the browser history, and so on. As the user and browser tab, you will find some other options regarding network that allow you to provide proxy information. It's the same part. On startup, you can customize user experience, add a homepage page to load on startup. From the content section, with the URL blocking, so the URL blocking feature, you can blacklist specific URLs by domain, provide like an URL filtering, so great feature again. Others remaining section as the printing, as the user experience, accessibilities, and hardware are the same as the user and browser tab, but only for the managed guest session mode. A lot of possibilities. Now let's move to the device part. So, as the user page, this is from here that you will see all devices enrolled on your company. Like users, you can move a device to another OU. Let me show you. Select the device, then click on this icon, move selected devices to another OU. You can directly disable the device or deprovision completely this one if you want. If you try to deprovision the device, as mentioned, be careful. Deprovision will stop device policy syncing and remove all device level policies. Okay, so the last part that I will show you now is about network settings. So basically, from here, you can create network profiles as Wi-Fi, Ethernet, or VPN, for instance. If you want to push a Wi-Fi profile to my cloud worker population, for example, I select the OU, I click on Create Wi-Fi Network. You can apply all network parameters directly by users or by device. You have the choice. Be sure to select the right. You add the name of the profile, an SSID, a security type, a passcode, and so on. If I come back just before, it's the same for VPN and Ethernet profile. In addition, this is from here that you can upload certificate and set your certificate authority. So this admin console presentation is finished. Thank you.